Hello everyone, welcome back. In the previous episode we successfully managed to pass the Stuff You Should Know podcast. Then I noticed a kind of visual glitch. We're only showing one podcast in here, but in our admin we do actually have two podcasts, so let's try and address that issue. Just reload this file. I want to actually confirm that we're passing everything that I think we're passing to the page. We refresh this now, so you can see there are two podcasts in this query. So I think what the issue is I added in this style position fixed to prevent a kind of rendering bug. You'll see what I mean when I delete this. So now I get both podcasts. The problem is the href is overflowing massively across this card, so I can actually click here and be taken to the talk Python to me podcast, which shouldn't be the case. So let's try and solve that to start with. I think potentially the way I've done this before is just add display flex, and that seems to have fixed things for us, which is deceptively simple. So I guess what we need to do now is add some margin around each of these cards. Refresh. Ooh, maybe it's ME margin end, not EM. Yeah, okay. Alright, so that's that. What do we want to do next? Let me think. I think what I would like to do is actually save this podcast data to file, if in case we ever change the parser, then we won't have to manually refetch this podcast in the UI. I would like all those test cases to be saved on disk. So basically anytime we make a decision that requires conditional logic in the parser, I would like to have the data that caused that decision actually testable in our test suite, so that we can change the parser and make sure that we're fully covering kind of all branches, if that makes sense. I could potentially hot swap this for, well, not hot swap, just swap this out for a completely different implementation, and then as long as all the tests pass, then I should be in the same position as I was before. But if I didn't have any of these tests, then it'd be difficult to kind of change the parser without knowing that some podcasts would break or not. So let's give that a go. I think earlier I did some curl command, so maybe instead of this I can pipe the output to podcasts test data, and I'm starting to think that maybe the file should just be the URL itself. So let's give this a try. It doesn't like that. No such file or directory. Maybe I have to just make it. Oh yeah, let's get rid of a prefix. Will this work? No, this is a terrible idea. This is a terrible idea because it's got slashes in it. Yeah, stuff. Let's just call it stuff you should know. It shouldn't really matter about the URL. RSS, and then do refresh, test data. Alright, here we go. But this file is an absolute monstrosity, so let's just try and trim this down. So we go a couple items down, then we can probably just delete a few things, and we have the main bulk of the data here. If we go back to, auto reload, it's a lot smaller. We go back to our tests now. Maybe we can include just like a new test. Let's think about how we should do this. We could reuse some of this logic and just traverse everything inside test data, but then they potentially have different numbers of episodes and different numbers of different data. In unless we make them have the same number of episodes. I'm not sure what the value of that is though. Let's just have a new, maybe a new test, so def test missing, or test missing pub date. Actually, I don't like this. That implies it's way more specifically catered to that test, whereas we had to change multiple things for this. I really want these to be high-level integration tests, not unit tests. We kind of know this is working, so I think what we should do here is just assert that the podcasts and episodes have actually been passed, maybe. So I don't care about this necessarily. So maybe I just want to open the current test data and find all the files in there and iterate over them, and just check that everything works, basically. So how can I do that? Do I want to do like a parameterized test, or can I just get away with writing a for loop? Let's say Python unit test parameterized subtest. This is more likely what I want. Okay, so I can say with self.subtest. Yeah, that's what I want, really. So just comment all of you out then, and we're fully in exploratory mode. Let's just say test, and let's just say path file parent / test data, and then can I do something like glob, maybe? Glob RSS, glob RSS. It's going to give me a list of items. What does this look like? Each one of these is going to be, oh, doesn't like that. Maybe I can do iter. Oh, okay, it needs to be like this, of course. And then, nope, still doesn't like that. Let's try iter. Next. There we go. Oh, closed the terminal accidentally. No, it doesn't like that. Let's just try putting this into the code and see what happens. I think it's getting a bit confused here. So let's just say for path in print path, and see what happens. It doesn't like this because, okay. Yeah, I think I just had completely mismatched brackets in my terminal just before. It's not actually getting this far, so have I spelled test data correctly? Stuff you should know .rss. Maybe it's, oh, of course it'll be star. Ah, there we go. So the first path is going to be that, the second path is going to be that. So I think for everything in there, we just want to do like a path.readbytes. Okay, yeah, cool. So we want to say data is path readbytes, and here we literally just want to assert that we can pass the data. We know the data is going to be there, so probably don't need that. We want to assert that the parsing works and doesn't raise an exception, and we want to assert that you can make a podcast and save a podcast, and aside from that we don't really care about anything else. So as the number of test cases grows, I imagine this test will take longer and longer, but it's a very quick and dirty and easy way to make sure that everything works. Let's just say it's not none, because they have different numbers of episodes. Okay, so boom, ran one test. That's because I hadn't done the subtest thing yet, so I guess I have to say with self.subtest. So I'm not sure what this I variable is. Let's roll with it. Do I have to call it I, or can I call it something else, or can I just say path equals path? Ran one test. Interesting. Let's try this. Still ran one test. Interesting. Maybe I have to make this a number. So for I in like enumerate. What happens now? Alright, maybe this is one to figure out offline, but for the time being I think we've got this test is at least, I know it's at least hitting this loop twice, so it's doing what we want in the test, although it's only printing. It ran one thing. Maybe that's just the misnomer that you can't actually fix. So yeah, for the time being, I'm happy with that. And in the next episode, I think we can look at parsing even more podcasts to add to our homepage here. All right, see you in the next one.